Hey guys, Tisha here for another Sister Wives review. And what did we just watch? I have a lot of thoughts. I'm going to try to save a good portion of them for the end of this, but to me, a lot of this episode was just what they say versus what we say thing. It's interesting how Meri and Robin have one opinion, and it seems as if Janelle and Christine have another. Both parties seem to be on opposite ends as far as the dynamic of the family and things that went on with Kody, but we'll get into it down below. So we began this episode with Christine arriving to Janelle's house to deliver this beanbag chair. Janelle said that she wanted more furniture, but because space was limited, that the beanbag chair seemed like the best option. And Christine was more than willing to gift it to her because it's something that she says she no longer likes and that her and Kody had purchased. As they're talking about things, Janelle says that her and Christine were rocky at one point. So she really appreciates how things are now and that they, are so close. It's so interesting that Janelle made this statement because the first thing that came to mind is if they were as rocky as Janelle and Christine have said that they were in the past, their relationship now is proof that if people do put in the work, that these things can be fixed. And it seems like we're going to hear that further down, both from Meri and Christine. And well, they all say it in some ways, but Janelle and Christine are proof that if you put in the work, things could be mended. As we're talking, Christine mentions that the townhouse that's next to hers is going to become vacant and she would love for Janelle to be there. Janelle said that it would be great, but at this point she really doesn't want to uproot Savannah. I understand what she's saying because Savannah, I'm assuming, I don't know if she's in her senior year or at this point if she's in her junior year, but we do know that she has been at her school for some time and she doesn't want to remove Savannah from her friends and her school. But apart from school, what else does Savannah have? Janelle, what else do you have? Because you aren't around family. It's also nice and kind of odd to hear Janelle say that if it wasn't for that, that she would be willing to move to Utah, because remember, Janelle was adamant that she did not want to go back to Utah when Christine pitched moving back to Utah to the family. Like, Janelle hated the idea. So to see now that here we are like a year or two later and Janelle is saying that she would be open to it because it would mean more of a connection to her church as well as to friends, what a difference a day makes, right? I think listening to Janelle that she's still in some sort of denial, because even her comment about how maybe if they worked on things and maybe if they started over and fresh and that certain things were changed, that she might be willing to fix things. It just seems so odd to me because Kody has shown you that at this point, he really and truly does not care about you. We find out from Savannah that Kody has not spoken to her since the beginning of December, and it's now January. Savannah says she's angry, and she has every reason to be angry. I'll say this. As a parent, because I saw on other platforms on Twitter that some people were knocking Janelle for not encouraging Savannah to call her father and all these other things. And it is not the job of Janelle to make sure that there is contact made between her teenage daughter and her husband. What is going to end up happening is that Kody is going to have hurt some of his children so much because of his stance and his stubbornness and his inability to forgive, that he's going to lose his relationship with his kids. We're already seeing it happening with some of his older children, and it's going to trickle down to Savannah. And I just feel bad because Savannah doesn't deserve it. When Kody's in his confessional, he makes excuses for the reason why that he hasn't talked to Savannah. And as always, it becomes the wife's fault because the phone works both ways. It just sounds really childish to me. Janelle mentioned that even if he didn't come and see her, that the least thing that he could have done was sent a gift via McKelty, Truly, or Isabel. And he didn't do it because I don't think he got one. Kody rather upset his wife through his child than actually deal with his child. And that just shows how immature and how inconsiderate he is. Kody talks about how his world's just shattered. It's shattered. I've been kicked out of my home. Kody, I don't understand. You're the adult. You were not kicked out. You walked out. Your wife asked you to stay and you walked out on her, because what you do is when you get mad at one wife, you go to the next. So you got mad because Janelle was confronting you on some of the crappy things that you've done. And rather than dealing it, you walked out on her and thought that it was okay. And she told you to come and get your stuff. You haven't come and gotten your stuff. You haven't even really acknowledged her. So you kind of threw in the towel the same way that she did. Christine says that while she's hearing Savannah talk about how upset she is that she is really like making it a point to make sure that she's not overreacting in front of Savannah, and she's trying to keep control because she's really, really upset, and that Kody needs to be a dad, and that she hates seeing this happen to Janelle. Christine is visibly upset to me, especially in her confessional. She seems to be more upset than Janelle. She said that Kody needs to make more time for his daughters. I don't remember if she said this or I said this, but I feel like it's regardless of how he feels about their moms. Like, make more time for your children, period. Regardless about how you feel about their mothers, and regardless about how you feel about their opinions of you. Whether you agree with they've agreed with the things that you've said or not, you should make time for your children. She's at an age where you don't really have to speak to Janelle in order to speak to her. The only person that you may have to have some conversation with is Christine, and that's mainly because Truly is younger, as well as Christine is out of town. So in order to coordinate when you'll be able to see her, you would have to talk with Christine. But all your other children from your 3 other wives, I'm not including Robin in this equation, you can speak to without talking to their mothers. So it's just a dumb excuse. I don't understand why TLC is subjecting us to this and why we have to keep hearing about like Kody and his just utter pain. Anyways, we see Robin arrive at Meri's, I believe it was, for them to talk, because she wants to complain about Christmas and the events of Christmas and how tragic it was for her, even though at this point Meri didn't even know that she was able to see some of Christine's children. Like, Meri didn't even know that Isabel and Truly were in town. Now, let's be clear. She didn't really care about not seeing Truly, it seemed like, because she was like, Isabel was here. Isabel was in town. So she must have a closer connection with Isabel. But she felt hurt by this. And she's like, she didn't know that she didn't know. How would she know, Robin, that they were in town? If you didn't communicate it with her, who was she going to find it out from? You're very aware that her and Kody do not have a relationship. They barely have a friendship. Kody tolerates her. So you had to have known that she didn't know. So you wanted to complain about this. I feel like it's just a convenient way of you trying to hurt Meri. And Meri, I don't understand why you're letting her use you like this. Why are you really sitting here allowing for Robin to have a moment to talk about this situation with someone other than the producers when she's doing her confession? Because nobody else would sit here and film with her. Like, she could have had this conversation with Kody. Robin continues to act like she didn't know that there was an issue, even though we've seen multiple times Christine being open about her jealousy. And I'm using this with the, because I can't blame Christine for this, her jealousy when it came to Robin. Like, she even talked about how, I think it was shortly after they moved to Flagstaff, when they all met up to eat, and she mentioned to the wives, like, she felt like they didn't like her and that they didn't want to be around her, and how uncomfortable it was to have these family dinners and stuff, which is one of the reasons why she didn't really like mind not having it. But you're sitting here acting like you didn't understand. Both Christine and Janelle say that Robin coming into the family did change the dynamic. Robin was shiny and she was new, and Kody likes shiny and new things. Meanwhile, Janelle said that her kids felt like there was a clear favoritism, that they got more time and more resources, and they did. Because I don't remember if her house was bigger than the other wives. I think it was. I think Robin had the biggest house because she had more children. I don't know. She had the biggest house. I may go back and review the past season, because there's a lot of discrepancies with what Robin says and what I remember, and it has been a long time, so I may be wrong with the things that my brain is recalling. But I feel like Robin has made up a lot of like lies and made a lot of false statements when it came to how she's been a good sister wife. Christine brings up how, and even Janelle, how she was always being told to be a better sister wife, but it wasn't in regards towards each other. It was more so in regards towards how, like, they were treating Robin. Like, it would be phrased like it was a to each other thing, but the issues that Kody had involved Robin. At some point before Robin came into the family, we found out that one Christmas while they were in Wyoming, that Christine had gotten all these gifts from Kody and that Meri didn't get any. And Meri tried to use this as an example of how Christine was just favored so much more than her. But it really, to me, it didn't make Christine look bad. That it more showed, it showed the mindset of Kody, because Christine was newer to the family, I'm assuming, at that time. Yeah, because it was before Robin. So he favored Christine at some point. Like, he even talked about how Christine's family is a big deal in polygamy. So he probably did show her more love, even though he says that he never was in love with her. Meri, it just made you seem like you were trying to make Christine look bad, and Christine didn't look bad. Christine said that she said something to Kody about it, and he mentioned something about, well, you gave her a gift certificate, and she was like, okay, but that's from me, that's not from you, that you should get her something. Meri then talks about how she, I guess after that whole thing happened, she began to keep track of Kody. Like, it wasn't something that she made known that it's a secret. And that when she tracked him, that she found out, she realized that he was spending less than a third time with her. So Meri is presenting this like she did this when they were just three wives. I don't really know how I feel about this, because I feel like in order to have this conversation that Kody should be involved, because when you all created this family, Did you all decide that you all need to see Kody every day, but on each alternating day, like one particular wife gets him? Because if there's 4 wives, then in my mindset, it's like, okay, you know that you're gonna spend every 4th night with your husband, and in between time he's gonna spend time, go to work, spend time with his family, and then come back to whoever's household he's supposed to go to, which makes me feel like Kody didn't divide up his time the right way with his families. We then find out that, to prove a point, that because Christine was complaining so much about time, that Kody spent a whole entire month with her. And while he spent that month with her, he didn't get any complaints about Christine. So he tried to make it seem like Christine's selfish. But if she's complaining about time, obviously if you spent a month with her, she's not going to complain because she's getting time. It didn't, like, what were you trying to prove with that statement? If your wife wanted more time with you, then spend more time with you. I don't think she was asking for you to ice out all the other women, but I do feel like she was asking you to be present when you were around and to be around. They talk about Vegas, and Janelle said that the time really became unequal when they moved to Vegas. That, to me, had nothing to do with them going public. Like, Kody tries to make it seem like part of the problem with things was when they became public. But you have to also remember, they went from being in one house when they were in Lehigh to then bringing Robin in, who had her own separate house, which they saw a shift there because he was going in between Robin's house and the one house, to then moving to Vegas, where initially the homes weren't together, they were spread out, to then them living in a cul-de-sac area where you technically can see, okay, he's over here because he's not here and he's not there. Like, in past footage, we see a lot of Kody running around, but I don't think he was legitimately spending time when he was doing that running around. I think that it was just a way to make him see like he was busy spending time with family, even though he wasn't. Kody says that because Robin gave him office space and garage access, that it may seem like that he was over there more, but he wasn't with her. I don't believe this. Nor do I believe when Robin said that her kids struggled because Kody wasn't around. If that's really the truth, Robin, why are we just hearing this now? We've never heard this before from Robin. We've never heard about your kids struggling because Kody wasn't around. What we heard about was how your kids are struggling because they're not being treated fairly by the other kids. Your kids are struggling because the other moms aren't embracing them, even though we saw multiple times where Christine tried to include them and to watch them, and you were against it. So why is it all of a sudden now that your kids just were struggling because they didn't see Kody? There's no way you're going to make me believe that Kody was in that house with you all, that all that time in his office and in his garage and other things weren't going on, especially since you don't have a job. Meri had space for you. Meri has one child, and she had a lot of house and a dry bar and an office. So you mean to tell me that you couldn't make your office over at Meri's house? You were where you wanted to be. He's mastered making himself look busy. Most of what Kody does, I think, is on the phone. So why is it so hard for you to divide your time amongst your wives? If Robin is saying that he didn't spend a lot of time with her, where exactly was Kody? Is Kody avoiding all his wives? Is Kody like introverted and just struggles with being with his wives? Like, do you need downtime because you're so stressed out from all the energy that you're exerting everywhere? Like, explain, Kody, where you are when all of your wives, because now Robin's saying it too, felt like you weren't around. Christine lets it be known that no matter what Robin said or did at a certain point, that she wouldn't trust her, and she doesn't trust her now. So she can extend an olive branch all she wants. It's not going to do anything for them. That she doesn't trust someone who says that they're about the family, but she doesn't show that she's about the family, and she doesn't. Robin has made it seem like she's just the go-to person on polygamy when this is her first marriage as a polygamist. Her marriage before was not successful. It ended in divorce. Yes, she was raised by a polygamous mother, but as I've said in previous reviews, they did not reside in the same city and or state as some of the other wives. So you're not the go-to person on that. Meri questioned if some of the issues was jealousy, and Meri, shut up, because you already know that some of the issue was jealousy because you were jealous of her too. Christine said that during a counseling session, she pointed out that Kody was always at Robin's. So basically, for Robin to be playing dumb now as to how she doesn't understand what's going on, how this happened, how they got to this point, we witnessed it. And she made it known in a session what some of the issues were. We really were fooled by this family, you guys. Like, we really were fooled. Like, I saw some of the problems, but it really was way worse than what we thought. And I think that the family dynamic ended with this family before it started. Think back to that whole wedding dress incident and how the wives spent their time trying to help Robin find a dress just for Robin to then go with Kody and pick out a dress, and then it became a secret between them. Like, you started off on the wrong foot from the very beginning. So it's not like Christine had this thought out of nowhere where she didn't like you. You didn't come into the family with the right intentions. I don't care what she says. It wasn't the right intentions. Christine brings up a point that Kody kept like pounding in, that how you need to be a better sister wife. You need to be a better sister wife, mainly to Robin. And Meri did all of those things, and Meri had a good relationship with Robin, and he still doesn't care for Meri. Really good point. Janelle talks about how it kind of hit home for her the way things were going when they were talking about the whole property thing as well as purchasing Robin's house. And she made certain statements to Robin about how she didn't feel like it was a good idea to purchase the house. And that when her and Kody got into an argument, that Kody brought up that Janelle made certain grievances to Robin about Kody and about that situation. And she told him some things that she knew had to come directly from Robin, and that allowed her to see Robin for what she is. And of course, Robin tried to make it seem like it wasn't that. She was just trying to, show that Janelle felt some of the same ways as her, but that's not. Robin has mastered being manipulative and playing dumb. And she uses things for her convenience. And I feel like she's really good at playing Meri, because even that whole story that we were told in the tell-all where Kody lied and said that he was thinking about getting back with Meri, and Christine threw a fit, and Robin knew about it because he told her when it happened. And part of Meri didn't believe that story because that's the same day that she was told by Kody that he didn't, he wasn't coming to get her. He didn't want her. And I feel like because Robin kind of chimed in on it, she somewhat thought twice about it. So like, Robin can say something and Meri changes up how she feels. Meri Drew, like, she got on my nerves because I feel like Meri was kind of sitting there kind of joining Robin in, but at some point she was saying things like, okay, well, it takes two, but Meri didn't stick up enough for herself. Robin then makes a whole statement about how she felt like certain people were more important than her kids. And she just can't figure out what went wrong. I hate that Robin is really trying to act like she's dumbfounded. It's been over a year since Christine let Kody know that she doesn't want to be with him. And Robin is still trying to look for ways to figure it out. Robin, shut up. Janelle mentions that in relationships, in sister-wife dynamics, in marriage, that it can only flourish, especially in the sister-wife dynamic, if everyone is treated equal. And that when you start to favor one wife over another, it creates problems. Meri and Robin are sucking up to one another, trying to make each other feel better about the situation, complaining about what the other wives are doing, but neither one of them have reached out to the wives or their children to make things better. If they did, we would be given a time, we would be shown a message, like y'all would let us see that you tried to reach out. Meri says that at this point, it doesn't matter what Robin believes, because Robin talked about how they could have went to counseling, they could have did this, you don't just give up. They could have had talks about it, that they could have went on dates. Like, there's so many things they could have did to try to rectify this situation. And Meri said that what Robin believes doesn't matter, and that's the only thing that I agree with. We then go into this whole rant with Robin crying. And I think she managed to get out a half a tear, not much of a tear, but a half a tear. And she talks about how they're giving the cheap version of family, that they can get all these gifts and they can have these big houses, but the kids are going to see past that, and how it's just, it's fake family. It's not the real family. It's not what they were. And Robin, what you're saying isn't adding up, because they're not the fake family. They're not the one who's doing the big house. Out of all the wives, you have the biggest house. From what we saw from Christmas, your kids received the biggest gifts. Janelle gave her kids gift cards and Savannah a couple more things for Christmas in that little itty bitty apartment that she has. Meri has a home, but she did that on her own, and she's renting in Flagstaff. Christine sold her house and is now in Utah, but she's not in some huge house. It's a good size. She's in like a duplex type of home, townhome. And it seemed like what we witnessed from them was more love and family dynamics than anything. So what are these gifts and these big houses and all this other stuff that you're talking about? What version of family are you talking about? Because I don't think you got the true version of family, because the family dynamic changed once you joined the family. I am so sick of this woman and how she's managed to play victim over and over and over and over again. We're going to keep seeing these fake tears. We're going to keep hearing about how tragic things are and the visible shakes and oh my God. You guys, I don't know what's happened to my family. I don't understand how we got to this point. I just don't know why they've allowed this to happen. We can all do that. I'm not an actress, and look what I just did. For a second there, I felt like a tear might have came down. I mean, Robin, you should take some lessons, girl. We're not buying it. We don't believe it. Christine thought that after she left that they would have a family experience. And Christine, I kind of don't know how you believe that, because you've seen enough of Kody to know that Kody doesn't like when you go against them. If your husband can go months and months without being intimate with you, you don't think that he would have tried to ice you out, especially when you made the statement that you wanted to keep things the way that they were between you and the other wives, mainly Robin. He was over it with you. We then go to McKelty and Aspen and the little daughter of McKelty, and they're planning Christine's 50th birthday, and she wants Janelle and her kids, and she doesn't want for Kody, Meri, or Robin to come, and I don't blame her. McKelty was kind of extra in the scene to me. They talk about who they're inviting. It's complicated. We hear something about her crush, Shamar Moore. And every time she says that, I'm surprised, because in their religion, darker complexion is considered to be a curse. So the fact that she likes someone who is biracial, who has, well, he ain't dark, but he has some brown in him. I'm surprised that she has a crush on him. Guess it just shows how far she's come. It's been a year since Meri's mom has passed, and even though they made us feel like Meri was leaving this week, or like Meri was doing something big, she's decided that she needs to move her clothing business to Utah. Makes sense to me. Save money, Meri. Like, for real, you need to get rid of that rental house and just stay there. She says that she hasn't told them yet, but she's going to eventually tell Robin, because Robin may be affected by it, but she knows Robin, that Kody is not really going to care that much. She's not really leaving Kody or the family. Like, Meri, get a life, girl, leave. There's nothing tying you to Flagstaff, not even Robin. Robin wants your money. I don't hear that you and Robin are hanging out. I don't hear that you guys are going out to eat. I don't hear that you all talk a whole bunch. She didn't even tell you what was going on as far as the kids coming. So how close are you guys really? Kody talks about how him and Meri took time to try to work things out, but that's a lie. Kody, you just wanted to punish her. Christine said that she's confused about, you know, Robin's take on things, because for a long time, Meri has been strung along, and if she cares so much about Meri, she would think that Robin would see that. I want to know how bad Kody's marriage was with Meri. Like, how bad of a place was it in that Meri thought it would be a good idea to add another wife to the family? Meri, were you that desperate for love, or did you think that if you added what he really wanted, that maybe his dynamic and his opinion of you would change? It doesn't make sense to me. How brainwashed is Meri? Because a lot of the decisions that Meri has made are questionable to me. Her saying that they were in a really, really bad place, that they were struggling before, her and Kody were struggling before Robin even came into the picture. Why would you try to add someone else onto the family without fixing your dynamic? That makes absolutely no sense. You gave him somewhere else to run to. I want us to get caught up with time. I want us to not be so far behind. I'm sorry that this was kind of all over the place. I really, seriously struggled with this episode, because it just made me really, really mad, because we continue to hear the lies that are being told to us by Robin and Kody. And we continue to see how devoted Meri is to people who aren't devoted to her. And by people, I'm talking about Kody and Robin. I think that I think I'm gonna review some old episodes. I'm not real sure, you guys. I'm leaning towards it because I really want to see what got us to this point, because I can think back to some of the things that I saw, but it's been so many years that I think a review may be a good idea. Let me know down below what you think. Like, do you think that we should go back on some episodes? This might have been the wrong review to say that, because I don't feel like I did a great job reviewing it. But let me know down below what you think, if you think that it's a good idea to revisit some of the old episodes. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do every single one, but maybe like an overview of a couple, maybe like season 1, episodes 1 through 3, and then like do it by threes. I don't know, just a thought. Tell me what you think down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. I don't remember what I'm at now. I think I was at 119 and now I'm at 123. May not seem like a big deal to some of you all, but it matters to me because every subscription helps me, because it allows more people to see me. So thank you guys so much. Until next time.